had to be careful not to knock the camera over. Hey everybody, welcome. Master Spas, 4 o'clock live, Eastern Standard Time. Obviously you know that if you're here. So we're gonna give everyone a few minutes to jump on. See who we got. Sound working, sound check. 1 person, 2 person. Kayla, cast this video. Let's get rid of that, all these pop-ups. All right, if someone could do a sound check for us. Anyone? We're sort of relying on you right now, Kayla. You're the first on. You got to let us know if you can hear us. Anyone? Anyone? Welcome, everybody. Sound check. Sound check.
Can you
Can
hear
you?
us?
Sound is good. All right.
Okay,
All right. There we
good.
go. Sound is working. There we go. Now everybody's here. The sound check is like,
I
you
know.
guys, you weren't there for the first
That
couple.
first one.
It was a disaster, and we were all just like, I can't say.
I
it.
just
can't
sent that video to someone the other day, and I was like, "It's not you, it's us." The first few seconds are
it was
a
sort
little
of
weird
a sort of a
sound.
debacle and disaster. My mother's on there. Hi, Mama. Love you. Okay, Robert Sarbone. Who else do we got? Kathy, Connor, Melissa. All right, very
Hi,
good.
everybody.
Martha. All right, we're loading up. 32 people on there so far. Today's topic, my wife, Beth Franco Gilliam. Hi, babe. So let's see. We got 39 people on here. Today's topic is the process of installing a swim spa. So that's really cool. We're going to have Mary just work out the whole entire time behind us because we weren't sure how to cut this
gonna
up into
hang
2
out over
people.
here.
So, she's just going to, basically we've given her a list of things to do and she's just going to sit out in there and work out the entire time. So if you have any questions regarding the workout, you can still ask them. We'll see if we can get to them. But I've got a long list of questions on process of installing your swim spas. So, and it's kind of interesting. We often get the same questions over and over and over again, but obviously that means we need to do a video, completely on that. So let's do some, can you keep the splashing down? Shh. So we need a couple of housekeeping. So again, we've talked about it every week. Master Spas, open for business. Production, we're not producing right now, but we have a lot of stock. All of our dealerships, open for business, at least virtually. So at least, I'm pretty sure almost all of our dealerships, I want you to reach out to, find out who your dealer is, do, something to get a hold of them. They are working virtually. They can, most dealers are installing product. I know we have been busier than we may have ever been with the amount of inquiries. People are sitting home and they're bored and they're inquiring. So it's just unreal. I did it at the Y, lost 80 pounds. Jody, I wish I had a pool or something now. Oh yeah, we're hearing that time after time. So, normally what we do is we try to lay out, I'll have like a cheater white erase board behind the camera that you can't see, or sometimes I show it, I don't really care. And I'll have like a list of things to talk about. So when 2 days ago or 3 days ago, we sent the email out and did a little blurb on Instagram and Facebook saying, hey, the next topic is going to be the process of installing, and we got lots of questions. And even more, this is what like the first page we printed out, and there's plenty there. So we didn't even have to come up with a topic. The questions kind of did the whole thing. But first thing I'm going to do is do a roundabout kind of breakdown of things, general guidelines of swim spas. So there are some key things that come into play with a swim spa and a hot tub versus a pool, where a pool is different. Okay, so a swim spa is portable. You have a treadmill in one or those things. No, we don't actually. I don't recommend a treadmill living underneath water, a mechanical device living underwater. I'm not a fan. So I'm going to say no on the treadmill. So anyway.
I'm running against the current right now without a treadmill.
Yeah, she's running on the soft tread.
Pretty hard.
So if you put a pool in, and let's talk about, in ground for the most part, you have permitting, fencing, property taxes. That stuff's not going away pretty much universally everywhere you live. We understand that if you put in a gorgeous pool, it's gorgeous. We're not disputing that. What a swim spa is easy. Okay, that's the idea. Legally, it's portable. All right, so it's going to be a lot easier a process to put in. All right, so now you've got, it's legally as portable. It's got a UL listed lockable safety cover, so you're not going to have any fencing requirement. Okay, you need a place to put it. You have an electrician run a wire to it. There's no plumbing attachment. It's portable. You're good to go. Okay, year round, at least in ours, we insulate the heck out of these, and it's really well done. But it's made for ease. Okay, so what most dealers, now this is kind of a most, because Master Spas has 300 dealers. Everybody's a little different. But as a general rule of thumb, the dealer will install the swim spa in place, okay? And whatever that means to you. Sometimes it could be a simple trailer to the spot and roll off. Sometimes they have to add a crane to the situation. Sometimes it's a helicopter. We've seen it all. So you need a place to put it. You're responsible for that. You're responsible for the electrician running a wire to it. Typically, your dealer is going to be responsible for putting it in place, okay? That's how the breakdown goes. We get a lot of emails, how much for the swim spa, the electrical, the base. I mean, there are some dealers that do all that. Some of those are contracting things. Now you're getting into licenses. So if a dealer doesn't do that, doesn't mean that they're, for lack of a better word, lazy. It means they don't want to be a contractor, okay? So we're really good at what we do. They're really good at what they do. So I've seen lots of dealers do it both ways. So that depends on your dealer. So that's up to you to find out, to ask the right questions. Hey, what do you guys do? What do I need to do myself? Who's responsible for what? Swim spa's a big project. It's not, hot tub's a little more simple. It's a lot smaller. Swim spa takes a little more space, a little bit more planning, but it's still pretty easy. Now, okay, so electrical. Actually, I'm just going to go start right down this list. Do most dealers pour the concrete pads? In William, most, in my experience, do not. Most do have recommendations for you on people to use, though. Okay, so let's see what we got here. I'd give anything to have one. Jody, all right, I'm looking here. Hang on, let me look back. Okay, all right. First question on the process. Now, questions regarding install process, fire away, keep them coming. We need that during this, all right? So, first question. This is from Eric in PA. If all of my circuit breakers in the box are taken up, all the spaces in his panel are taken up, how hard is it to install a new, it says amp, for my swim spa? So what he means is a new breaker, I'm sure. So let's say this gentleman, Eric in PA, he has no more spaces in his breaker box. There's three accepted ways to do it, but this is really a question that your electrician needs to answer, but this is what we've seen. So a lot of times, if you're full and you have an older 100 amp panel and you only have 100 amps coming into the house, you could have an issue. You might need to upgrade that bad boy, all right? If you have a 200 amp system and it's in a 100 amp, a smaller circuit box, well, then you have plenty of amperage. You just ran out of space. So if that's the case, the couple things they can do to get around that, they can use mini breakers and split up the circuits and squeeze out a little more space for you in there, or they can do a sub, just a simple sub off of that because you have plenty of amperage. Now, if you have 200 amps and you have a big 200 amp panel and it's full, it may be an indication that you need to have someone do some kind of an audit and figure out where your electrical situation is, and that's a situation where you absolutely have to go with the licensed electrician's recommendations. Okay, so a lot of times they can squeeze in more space. If it's just max to the max, well, then you're going to need to upgrade something. Okay, so that's the answer there. So it a little bit depends, Eric and PA. All right, it's not always cut and dry. So I know people, we have a lot of people have said, hey, the electrician is telling me this, he's telling me that. Well, you know what? He could be telling the truth. And we find that most often they are. So they don't want to sign their name on something that's shoddy work, and rightfully so. You don't want them to do that either. Okay? Next question. Can a swim spa be installed indoors? Yes. Okay? Yes, it can. All right. Melanie Harris, how are you? Jarrett, what's going on? Hi, everybody. So can it be installed indoors? So there's a couple of things that you want to take into consideration when installing any body of water indoors. It is the moisture put off in the room. So, Connor, you're gonna have to reword that. I'm not sure what that word is, okay? So now indoors, the moisture coming off, we keep our covers on when not in use, completely on, and it does a great job of sealing it up. We use the standard winter covers that fold out, nothing weird. So it seals up really well, doesn't put off any moisture into the room. We don't run, in our particular location, I don't run a separate system for dehumidification. And we have a couple of dealers, I won't name names, who are really good on the construction side of things, and HVAC, and their company offers those services as well. And they have broken this down to really being simple. When the covers are closed, it's not putting off a lot of moisture into the room, so it's not really a problem, okay? If you're gonna leave the cover off all the time, you are going to have a moisture problem. And if you ask someone who had a pool in a house, which there are a few around, you see that, you'll find if you ask them, hey, would you do that again? Most of the time they say, no, I would not do that again. It's been sort of a nightmare with the moisture they gave off, and that's because it doesn't seal. So the covers that it comes with work really, really well for sealing, and you shouldn't need to run a dehumidification system all the time, maybe only when it's open and that moisture is actually going into the air. So we have here, this is our warehouse, this is our space. It's big, there's plenty of ceiling height. When we keep it, we swim 4 days a week each one anywhere minimum probably 30 minutes to 45 hours, something like that. We're not running any dehumidification or anything in here. We just close the cover back up when we're done, and this is a large enough open space that we're not concerned about it. In a smaller space, if it were inside my home, I would say, maybe run a dehumidifier in a gym that I used to own, had lower ceilings, and if I kept it open a lot, I would run a large portable dehumidifier while I kept it open, okay? So it can be installed indoors. You need to take the moisture into consideration based on your use. The covers do seal, so it's typically not as bad as people think it's going to be from a moisture perspective, okay? Let's see, what kind of support is needed? Scan Lake. If placing a Challenger 18 on a deck about 6 feet off the ground, what kind of support is needed? A lot. You're talking about 20,000-ish pounds, so that will need to be engineered, architect, stamped, proper deck build for that. On a swim spa, you're looking at 160, 170, maybe a little more pounds per square foot. So you just need to have that designed and drawn for that amount. That's not something we're going to do. We have had plenty of people try to get us to authorize their projects and stamp our name on them when it needs to come from something like that. You have lives are at risk. It needs to be built properly, so it needs to be done properly. Follow the proper channels, building codes, inspections, architectural drawings, anything like that. If it's going to be in the air, that being said, it can easily be done. We've seen it many, many times. Just has to be done properly. Okay, this is a good one. We're in the Northeast, so we see this one all the time. We are thinking of putting our swim spa in our garage so we can access and use it easily in the winter. What considerations do we need to think about? Any special ventilation? So some of that goes back to what we just said. How warm can the water get? 99 degrees, Kathy. So when placing in a garage, which we do a lot of in the Northeast, people have a 3-car garage. They're like, hey, just slide it in here. It's all set. Keep in mind, you could have a little bit of pitch going down, so make sure that you have the end facing on the high side that you want, the proper end on that. Your dealer can help you with that decision. If you have a lot of pitch. If you don't have a lot of pitch, it doesn't really matter. Okay, every garage is a little different, but it will slide right in there. A problem that we see on garage installs is not really a dehumidification concern. It's usually a height on the covers. So make sure you have a ceiling height that's gonna, if the cover folds like this, if you have a 15-foot swim spa, the cover is broken down into 4 sections. So call it, roughly, it's less than 4 feet, but if you had a 5-foot tall swim spa and a 4-foot cover, which it should be about a couple inches less than that, it could hit the ceiling on the, they don't bend well, so you need that swing. So you may need to use a roll cover in a garage if that was a concern of yours, if ceiling height were a concern. Back to the dehumidification, when the covers are closed, you're not really putting off a lot of moisture into the air, so it's not that big of a concern. So you can always run a simple portable dehumidifier when it's in use and that's a great, simple way to take care of it. Kevin Lee Wright, what's going on, buddy? Okay. To cut an opening in your existing deck and install the spa below with a proper reconfiguration. I agree. So there's some neat installs like that. We've got some amazing pictures. Okay. So next question. Now, Richard Markovich, if you have questions, pop them up. Try to keep them on point with the direction of the install. Never mind Mary, she's working out. She's gonna. You all right down there?
Yeah.
All right, good.
I'm great.
More.
I'm doing more.
She's gonna splash me. All right. So the garage. Do I need special ventilation? Probably not, in our experience. What is ongoing weekly or monthly maintenance? Can I do it myself? Kathy in Illinois. Yes, absolutely. It's very easy. Okay, so you know, all the swim spas, all the hot tubs, you know, ozonators are standard. We don't put anything in, you know, out there without an ozonator. You've got EcoPure mineral filters, which are fantastic. They really do a good job. So how I do mine, I'm not textbook, so I like to keep it simple. What I like to do is I use a little bit of chlorine and a little bit of shock. That's how I do it. That's all I use. I rarely use anything else. I've said it in lives before. You got to make sure, you know, nobody's using. How do I say this properly? You know, Kevin's like laughing at me right now. How do I say this properly? Don't let anybody go to the bathroom in your hot tub or swim spa, because that messes up the pH. It's not the end of the world. Chlorine can kill it, but it's not the end of the world. It just needs to be accounted for. So what I do here is a couple times a week when we get out, I'll throw in, you know, two capfuls of chlorine, and it grabs onto what we've left behind, goes to the filter. Really simple. We have people that are terrible overthinkers, and they're watching. I'm not that guy. So they're watching the videos, and you can get as crazy with you as you want to. I do it very simple. You know, I put in enough to grab onto what we've left behind. I know that the water needs to be clean and clear. I don't want any slime on the sides. It's got to be, you know, squeaky clean. That's where squeaky clean came from. And then from there, I'm shocking it, you know, once a week, maybe once every other week. A good hit of shock, and that's pretty much it. And the swim spa really does a great job of helping me help it. Okay, so it's very simple. If you've got a ton of kids in there, guess what? You're gonna have a little bit more work to do. All right. How much space do you need around the spa if you are putting it in your garage? Do you have to have clearance of a special? I'm guessing that says special amount. So you need to have on the ends, and it depends which swim spa you have. So we have jetted, we have propulsion, we have air jetted, we have airless jetted. We have the most amazing spread of swim spas in the world. I'll take that argument with absolutely anyone, and I'll win. So what you need to have is 3 feet. The official rule is 3 feet around the swim spa on every single side for proper service access. That's the rule. Does everyone in the world do that? Not even a little, okay? So we very rarely need to go on the long sides of the swim spa in. So for example, so if you look at my swim spa, it's pretty much this far off the wall, okay? So should anything happen in there, what I would need to do, my worst case scenario, if I needed to get on that side, is drain the water out. It's portable. Drain the water out, slide it out, make a repair, put it back. So right now, it's far less likely that I'm going to need to do that than I need space in this room. So for me, I put it up against the wall and I'm not too worried about it. All right, I know that I can drain the water out and slide it out. Now, your dealer will take care of that with you should that need arise. But on the ends, so this is a Challenger 15 deep. It's a glorious 3-pump airless jetted swim spa, the only one like it in the world. The swim quality is amazing, fantastic. So I have it on the swim end is also, you know, there's enough room for me to shimmy in there. It's about that big, and I can shimmy back there, but it's really not enough room for service. So the same thing applies, but on a jetted, there's no mechanicals over there. It's all on this end. So you want to have 2 to 3 feet where the mechanicals are easily accessible, and then the other ones, you need to be able to access them in case of something crazy happening, that we could slide something over and move it and get to it, okay? Or just go the full 2-3 feet around it and never worry about it again. Is this a good placement for a family pool for less cost and a good replacement? Yes, absolutely. And if you move, you can take it with you. So that's the best part. What's the best way to get to the water out of the cover? That one depends on the age of the cover. So this is a good, what's the best way to get, okay. All right, so when the cover gets old, they need to be replaced. They're like tires on a car, okay? When they're new, they're nice. And Ted, right? There is no end of season. That's right, Ted. There is no end of season. Okay. I plan to, back to the monthly maintenance. So once a month, I'll take the filters out right here. I'll run them over to my sink over there, run them through there. It probably takes me 15 minutes. So I'm treating it 2 times a week, 3 times a week. And then I'm cleaning the filters once a month, and that's about it. So this water has been in here 5 months, and it's flawless. And that's all I've done to it. We typically recommend changing swim spa water, once or twice a year, depending on use. If you're having kid parties in there every weekend, well, guess what? So our pool covers automatic or manual. Yes, you can have it any way you want, and money can fix any problem. So if you want them automatic and push button, it's available. It's not the same price as manual, as you can imagine. All right, so I plan to install in my backyard, but the previous owner had installed an underground sprinkler system. Do I need to remove that system before installing the swim spa? Virginia in New York. Yes, we do recommend removing that, because if the swim spa were placed on top of that, you wouldn't have access to that, any of that equipment or that piping or the sprinkler heads or any of that. You wouldn't, and if you sprung a leak under there, you wouldn't be able to fix it. So we do recommend getting rid of any sprinkler system that would be underneath your swim spa, no matter what you were using for a base. Okay, so that could cause problem. I've never seen it cause a problem later on, and I'm sure people have installed on top of it. We would not recommend that, and don't do that. You're just making a potential for an issue later on. Okay, Monique, saltwater, negative. We will avoid your big beautiful warranty. All right, so. Can the spa be set into the deck so it is even with the deck? Do we need easy access to outside panels? Maureen, South Carolina. Good question. This is one we get all the time. Sinking the tub. So if you can see, can you see that? Yeah, you can see that. This is the top of the flange. This is the top of the flange right here. Okay? And then you've got, it goes down, it wraps around onto the bottom. It kind of wraps around. That's the flange. So if you sink and the deck comes to this height, can you see that with my hand there? If the deck comes to this height, yes, it's very aesthetically pleasing, but your covers are going to be a little funny, okay? Because the covers are they have a little skirt, they're meant to hang down, and you won't have that access. And then the covers also fasten to the cabinet, so you'd have to put the fasteners for the cover out onto the deck, which can be done, okay? Keep in mind, when you get in that swim spa, you're going to be climbing down, and one thing that is concerning to me, unless you were putting handles on the deck like a pool, getting in and out is going to be a little funny. You're getting out of that swim spa and it's at deck height. If there's nothing to hang on to, you'd be a little concerned. So we would recommend putting something to grab onto for safety. Whereas my recommendation, my favorite install, and we have pictures all over our website of this. My favorite install is to put a foundation down, put a slab down, put the swim spa on it. Build a deck up around it. I like 2 feet showing. Okay, so just like you can see, I'm sitting on the edge of this right now. My feet are on the stairs. If you can sit your tush on the edge and swing your feet in, it's way easier to get in and out of. This is our, you can design and install these any way you want to. This is your baby and it's portable. You can move and do it again. This is our recommendation because it's easy to get in and out of and really great that way. So one thing I always tell people, and it's not an official recommendation, that's my personal recommendation. It's not official, you can do anything you want. Is there a hot tub section? How big is it? Not in this one, this is all one temperature. If you had, picture this, picture with me, and I know everyone's juices are flowing on design and thinking about swim spas. We're installing like multiple swim spas every day. I know in the Northeast they're flying out, like we can barely keep up. So think about this, if you had a sliding glass door, your deck, and then the swim spa, and it was sunk to the flange, and it was flush with that edge, which is beautiful and aesthetically pleasing. If you had a party and that cover was open and everyone was standing out there, no one would go near the swim spa for fear of turning around and maybe falling in. Everyone would be standing 8 feet away. Okay, whereas if you had that swim spa was sticking up chair height is the height I like. you'd have people sat on the edge of that swim spot. The swim spot becomes part of the party. Your deck won't get shrunk. If you don't have that something to sit on, it's going to shrink your deck by half, theoretically, if you see what I mean, as far as where people are going to stand comfortably. I have one that I had installed with it 2 feet below, and I love it. Just moved mine and plan to do the similar again. Right on, 2 feet is magic numbers. So, you know, I've said that to so many people, you know, in the past. It's been a lot of years now. We're all, like, you can see the gray hair. We're not kids anymore here. The 2 feet, I've told so many people, so many have done it that way, and they love it afterwards because they're doing exactly what I'm doing. They're sitting their butt on the edge, spinning in and out. When you climb out, you put your back, you know, you're backing up to the edge, you're sitting on the edge, you're swinging your leg out, totally comfortable. What is the thickness of concrete needed? Ruben, you might have been on here. Were you on here? Ruben in Florida, you made the list, buddy. All right, I was getting to you, I just didn't get there yet. 6 inches. 6 inches, reinforce it while they're at it. Why not? You can either do some rebar, you can do some mesh, but 6 inches is the thickness. You don't need like footings. You don't have to get crazy. All right, Ruben? There you go. You did make the list. I just didn't get there yet. All right, he was making sure he got his answer. Good for you. All right. Next. That was next. That was literally next. Can you install it on the ground and then build a deck around it? Karen in Ohio. Yes, that's exactly what we're talking about. I love that. That is, you know, we always get asked about what's called a vault. Okay, can you put it in the ground? Is that on there? Partly underground to get a lower? Yes, that was the last question. So I'll hit that one now. We always get asked, can you sink it in the ground? So everybody's looking to get around all the rules of a pool, but then they want to sink it in the ground like a pool. All right, so you're losing the simplicity of it, but you have to do what's called a vault. Now, some of our dealers will do the vaults, most probably won't. Some have people they recommend do it, and they've worked with them in the past, and it's not terribly complicated, but this is what needs to get done. Hold on to that thought, Denise. You basically have to dig down, and then you pour your foundation in the bottom, a slab on the bottom. You have to allow for drainage. We'll get back to that. And then you're going to do a retaining wall, because you can't just backfill dirt up against your beautiful swim spa. So then you have to do a retaining wall, then you backfill that, and then the swim spa drops inside the vault, okay? And then you need to have 3 feet around it. You know, we've done plenty where people said, I can only get 2. Will that work? It will. If you ever had a problem, the tech needs to be skinny. We could always, you know, wrangle up a skinny tech, but you really want that 3 feet, okay? And then deck over from the retaining wall to it and tie into the swim spa. That's how you've done it. There's plenty of pictures in there. Here's the thing, okay? They come out gorgeous. It ends up looking just like you did a deck up around it, but it's in a hole. So if anyone has ever been home and it's pouring rain, you know those rains that are 3 days long and it's pouring rain? Pouring rain for 3 solid days. Here's what we're worried about. If your swim spa is in that hole, that vault, and that vault fills up with rainwater, which you are not going to keep that water out. Water, as we know, never loses a fight. That's why we don't have, you know, recommend the treadmills on the bottom. Water never loses a fight. If that hole fills up with rainwater, it will submarine all of your mechanical goodies. Okay? So that's the concern there. So you have 2 options. You can do a gravity-fed drain inside there, or you can do a sump pump system. A sump pump system, a lot of times when you get 3 days of rain, you also have a loss of power. If you have a loss of power and your pump is driven off of that and there's no battery backup, you just submarined all of your goodies. Next, if you do have a battery backup, are the batteries going to last for 3 solid days of rain? These are the concerns. You need to plan on worst case scenario, not best, to make it aesthetically pleasing. Plan on worst case scenario, then you'll never have a problem. But I want you guys to think about this on that, and this is what I tell all the people that have worked with me personally. I will tell you this, Master Spas, largest manufacturer in the world of swim spas, we're pretty freaking good at this. And I almost did it, Kevin. Kill me. So I almost slipped. So we're pretty good at this. And among all the people who specialize in these in our company, you know, I have overseen a lot of installs. And this is just a problem. We want you to think about worst case scenario, never best case scenario. Plan on the worst case scenario, you'll never have a problem. Okay? So if one of those systems fails, you're going to ruin your beautiful swim spa. We don't want that. Okay, that's the gist of it. All right, do I need to drain if it's surface mounted on concrete? Ruben, so typically people don't put drains in. They will just, drain them into the grass or the bushes with a small sump pump is the fastest, easiest way to do it. All right, so what else do we have in there? So sinking into the vault can be problematic. Gorgeous, we get it, but you just need to make sure that it's done really, really properly. That being said, you need to allow for service, the 3 feet around it. You need to take care of drainage, okay? And if you think that it's included in the price of a swim spa, you are a lunatic. It's not. There's no free lunch, okay? So there's no free lunch. We get asked that a lot. Does that include putting in the ground? No. So I have never done one physically with my own hands. I have been told that it will add $10,000 to $15,000 worth of additional contracting work to your job. Okay, it's a lot of work. You're digging down. You are, also opening yourselves up to more permits, doing a proper vault. You're doing proper drainage. You're doing a retaining wall. Then you're backfilling all that stuff, decking over to it. It's a lot more involved as opposed to putting it on a slab on grade, doing a deck up around it. Simple. So, raining for 3 days. This is the last thought I'm going to mention on this. And if you think I'm trying to talk you out of it, I'm not. I'm trying to make you aware of potential concerns so that you know what you're getting into, okay? If I was home and my beautiful Challenger 15 was sitting in a hole and I was concerned that hole was filling up with water, I don't think I'd be able to sit there and watch television relaxed while I was afraid that my baby was being drowned, okay? So I'd be afraid of that, and I'd be out there in the rain making sure, checking that crawl space, making sure it wasn't filling up with water. I can definitely think of better ways to spend my time during 3 consecutive days of rain than being wet in that hole, making sure my baby wasn't filling up with water. Whereas if you had done a slab, done a deck up around it, you would not have that concern at all. You would be sitting inside, in front of the fireplace with a cup of coffee and never thinking about it again, okay? So just think about that. Advantage of separating swim spa from separate spa. Matt, I'm not sure. Advantages of separating swim spa from separate spa. Do you mean 2 separate units, or do you mean the one with the dual temp? I'm not sure what you mean. Hit me again, Matt, if you want us to do that. Let me see what we got here that I missed. About my question about placement, if we get one now but move it in a few years, yes. Denise, I totally forgot about you. My apologies. Yes, we move them all the time for customers. I think every dealer moves them for customers all the time. It's not a problem. They're not charging a gazillion dollars to do it. It's just labor. So the bigger thing, at least most dealers that I've dealt with, they're charging whatever their labor is involved to get it lifted up and moved over there for you. So it's not a big deal. The bigger deal was if you were moving cross country, the distance between the move would be a bigger concern than actually just lifting it up and putting it on a trailer properly and securing it so that it can be transported, or if they were transporting it. We have people that have us put it on a trailer for them. We have people that have us do the whole entire thing. We have every imaginable combination of moving that you can imagine, that you can come up with, we've done. Not a problem at all, okay? Dealers do it all the time. It's no problem, okay. What else do we got? All right. 2 separate spas. Does the spa water have to be emptied periodically? Yes, absolutely. Because you're treating that water, people are using it, you're chemically treating it, sanitizing it, taking care of it. Eventually the water will need to be changed. I think on a swim spa, I get a full year out of my hot tub at my house, no problem. When the kids were little, I didn't seem to get as long for some reason. I don't know why. So we used to change the water, 4 times a year when the kids were little, and now they're big, and the water magically lasts a year. I'm not sure what happened. And then the swim spa, we typically always get about a year out of it. If you don't take good care of it, you're going to need to do more water changes, obviously. So don't hold me to that if you're not taking good care of your water. All right, what do we got here? What is the voltage? Oh yeah. What is the voltage needed with and without Whirlpool section? So the voltage is always 240 volts on a swim spa. If you have separate units, it's still 240 volts, but you need 100 amps instead of 50. So amperage is what you're talking about, not voltage. So you would have 50 and a 50 on a dual temp, and on like this Challenger, it's 50, it's only 50. And we move a lot of water on 50 amps in there. It's beautiful. All right, what do we got? Oh, there's lots of questions here. I missed a bunch. What do we got? What do we got? What is the average lead time to get a spa now? You said you aren't manufacturing now. How long would it be, Denise? Okay. Good question. This has been a very popular question in the last couple of weeks. So Master Spas, massive company. Aggressive, massive American muscle, every part made in the USA. We're ready to rock. We keep a lot of stock. I didn't mean to rhyme like that, but it was perfect. So we keep a lot of stock. So our dealers, we have large dealers, they have a lot of products. So if a dealer, I can tell you this, from my experience, in my neck of the woods, if it's something that's in stock, we're ready to go. We're ready to install. We're not fooling around. Master Spa's not fooling around. If we've got it and it's built, go. If you say, I need to have this color, well, you might need to wait a little bit. If you're like, hey, you know what, I like this color, it's perfect. Let's do it. So the lead time can be very quick, or if you're particularly particular, it could be a little longer, okay? So that's a little difficult for me to answer, but I can tell you this, if we've got it, we're ready to go, okay? So don't wait. How often is periodically for 3 people? I'm guessing you're talking about a swim spa or a hot tub, I'm not sure, Catherine. So how often? A hot tub, figure a hot tub a couple times a year and a swim spa, you should easily be able to get a year out of that water in a swim spa. It's a much bigger amount of water, so don't let anybody pee in it. All right, what else do we got? Do you have to empty the swim spa entirely or halfway? Claudia, when I changed the water, I emptied it all the way. Although I have seen people do what you're talking about. If I were going to empty it, I would go all the way and then refill it all the way and not worry about it for a long time. So that's how I would do it. Let's see, Melissa Lynn, we have one and it's so awesome during this quarantine with a heart and a smiley face. I'm looking there.
I can't agree more.
Yeah, we can't agree more. We know that we are spoiled brats here, absolutely. Do you fill water yourself or hire a company? Good question, Tammy. So, at my house, I have a well, and my well is, it doesn't go dry on us, and we've been there 20 years. It doesn't go dry, but it's got a lot of iron in it, and it's pretty hard. So we have a hot tub at the house, so I like to fill that with a pool company. Here at our warehouse, we have city water, and the water is like perfectly perfect, so we don't even look back. We fill it right up there. I will tell you this, because the next question is which one is more expensive. If you have water trucked in versus city water, the trucked in water will always be more expensive than city water, although people just think about it funny like that. So at the warehouse on the swim spa, we fill it with city. At home, I have it trucked in. So both. How's that? What else do we got? What are the depth options, Ruben? So, Ruben, I'm sort of guessing that you are looking at swim spas right now. Good questions. So you've got 2, depending on the spa, on the swim spas, you've got 51 inches and 60 inches, the 60 being deep, okay? So most of the swim spas are available in deep, which tends to be in your warmer climates. People like the deep, or really tall people. I'm not really tall, I'm like 5'8", maybe even a sliver less. I don't have a thing with it, you can make fun of me. So this is a deep. Right here, you can see Mary is 4'10" or 11, and it goes up, it's pretty deep on her. Really nice. So 51 or 60, entirely up to you. Jake Jensen, or is it Paul? Good to see you, buddy. Claudia, do you service Long Island as far as sales and service? I asked that because the local Long Island dealer, I can't. Claudia, it doesn't let me hit the see more and read that fully. Just send us a message afterwards. Right on there, and I'll respond to you. Okay, Claudia? I know that we have a great dealer in Long Island. I'm not sure whether that was saying they were awesome or a complaint. I can tell you this, based on what we're seeing now, we are frazzled busy, okay? So, but if you want to send me a message, I will certainly make a phone call for you and in your behalf and help out in any way that we can, okay? So, we are out in the country with well water and heavy minerals. How do you recommend treating the water if you use the well? Okay, Denise. So if you're gonna use the well on a swim spa, that's a lot of water. So keep that in mind. Like this swim spa is like 1,900 gallons. So that's gonna put a demand. So now you have 2 concerns. One, you don't wanna over tap your well. And then the second one being how hard that water is, all right? So for me, I don't want either one. I don't want to use my water, and I also don't want to beat the heck out of my well filling it. So I like the pool at home. I stand by that answer. Entirely up to you. If you do, what's going to happen is you need to use a pre-filter. They put it on the end of the hose. The question, Mary, you should see the questions are like rapid fire, like nuts. So you know what, Susan, I know you're watching, and this was Susan's idea, right?
Yep.
Susan, you were right. This one was needed. Oh my God, there's going to be like a million comments on there. She's gonna smack our faces. So okay. So back to the minerals. So you would use a pre-filter on the end of the hose, and that's going to take a bunch of the stuff out, not all of it, and then you're going to use like a metal be gone, a metal out, the whole bottle in a swim spa, and then for the next couple of days, you want to treat it, and you don't even chlorinate it yet. You got to get all that all the mineral and metal out of there. There are products to do that, and you can get it clean. Just keep in mind, by the time you're done cleaning that water, you may have spent a decent amount of money towards what would have come out of a truck that was perfect. Okay, so keep that in mind. Just because you're using the well doesn't always make it free, because you do have to get that junk out of there. All right. Ruben, were you at a spa show in Jacksonville 3.5 years ago? Mary, you hearing this?
Probably.
Probably. I've been to Jacksonville several times. We spent a lot of time in Florida, Southeast Spas, amazing dealership. The owner, Philip, is a dear friend of ours. So yeah, it's entirely possible. 3.5 years ago, I've been a lot of places. So we have a huge network. But we used to spend a tremendous amount of time in Florida. And so yes, it's possible that was us. Do you need a pump to drain the spa? Kathy. Pro answer? Yes. Do you need it? Not necessarily. You can do, most of the hot tubs have a drain in there. I personally would never take the cabinet off to grab the drain. I would use a small sump pump, best $50 you ever spent in your life. So we basically set the pump in here when it's time to drain it, throw it out into the parking lot, and never look back. And when it's done, we come in here and shut it off, fill it back up, 2 seconds. Do the pumps have stainless internal parts? We're not going to get into quite that on the installation stuff, but you can send a message into Master on that. Heavy covers, still figuring out best option and advice. The covers are like tires on a car, guys, and you want to play. Sometimes you got to pay. So we have a lot of people that are like, hey, you know what, the covers are heavy. We have some people that say, hey, the covers are heavy. That's part of doing business. There are different types of covers. You have roll covers. You have Covanas if you want to spend that kind of money. You have the full the snow load covers that we typically include. My wife recognized you. We've been a lot of places, Ruben. The list now is really getting long. That's funny. So back to the covers. They are big, but here's the thing. If we made them thin and light, they wouldn't be efficient, and then we'd be bad for doing that as well. So they have to be, first thing that has to happen is they have to be efficient. They have to be safe. Okay, we can't have anyone falling through. They need to be thick. They need to be hardcore. Okay, so we have to do a good job with that first. Okay, let's see. Why Master Spas versus your top competitors, Kathy? Every part of our tub's made in the United States. American Muscle, largest manufacturer in the world, official swim spa for Ironman, Michael Phelps, the list goes on. All right, we're slaughtering everyone in the swim spa market, and I like to be part of the tip of that spear personally. All right, where do you get the water from to fill the spa? This one came out of the city, and then at home comes out of a truck. Can you show us the water current generator? William, we did that last time. We we got to stay on point here for install. What time? Oh, we got 43 minutes. Yeah,
I'm getting tired over here.
You keep going. You keep going. Get back in there. All right. So, any last questions for installation and process? Clearly, Susan was right. Denise, are you considered an essential service to be able to install now? In most places, we are. So, in most places, we are installing now. You can send a message afterwards, and we can give you a better answer on that. I'm giving a general answer. There are a few places that I know of that are not able to install right now legally. Most places are. Okay. Do many people in Fort Wayne area use the roller cover? Tough for me to answer that. I like the snow load. I'm actually in Connecticut, and I like the thicker covers for the weather. Ben and Mary will be in the comments section afterwards to answer more questions. Susan is probably hysterical right now. So clearly she was right. How much is it? You can't see mine. not sure what you mean. Anyway, okay, so we're gonna wrap this up. Keep asking the questions. Clearly this was something that we needed. I hope I wasn't too sporadic all over the place and someone has to, endure that 43 minutes of torture of me talking if they have questions regarding installation of a swim spa, but that's a lot of information out there. Okay, so if you have any more questions, hit us up, send a message. If anyone has something that they maybe want to keep private, send it right into our inbox and we will answer you also. Do you know if you were able to install in Michigan? Not sure about Michigan. I don't deal with any in Michigan. We're going to have to find that out. You can't see my comments. I can see your comments. I can see that. Anyway, send them afterwards. All right, guys, we will talk to you soon. Till next week.
Bye, everybody.
Enjoy. We'll see you. Take care.